Hey guys, last day today with new stuff about the 13 colonies. The big idea to get today is that those 13 colonies were controlled by England and they also had a really deep connection with England. And so we're going to see ways in which that connection was formed and how that affected the colonies. First, you've got a couple of vocabulary words. The first one is the word legislature. The legislature is the group of people who make laws. So in the United States, that's Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. In Louisiana, we also have our own legislature with its own House of Representatives and Senate, and every state has the same thing. But as long as you know, legislatures make laws. Second one is the word parliament, and parliament is the legislature of England. When I use the word parliament, I'm talking about England or Britain. That's the legislature, the people who make laws there. Third word, last one here, is architecture. And architecture is the design or structure of a building, even though you can't see it. It should say design or structure of a building. All right, so let's see our stuff for today. So, big thing is talking about trade. And these are your questions in those boxes right there. Who did the Americans trade with? Their biggest trading partner was the British. And this happened because one, a lot of the people in the colonies, they came from Britain. And so they wanted to trade with British people, and that was the language they spoke. They understood English, and so they traded with them. But also, there were these laws called the Navigation Acts that the British government passed that made the Americans trade with Britain. So these Navigation Acts, this is a big diagram that shows what's going on there. But what this really was an enforcing mercantilism. So England was controlling the trade with the colonies so that England, the mother country, could make money. Some things they did was they were saying that Americans weren't allowed to produce anything that was already made in England. You weren't allowed to sell anything except for if it was on English ships. So they couldn't sell anything to the French. They couldn't sell anything to the Spanish or anybody else. They had to sell it to England. They also could find any ship on the seas whenever they want and make it turn to England and go there and sell stuff there. So they really just completely controlled all the trade with the colonies to make it happen to the English or the British. So who did they trade with? Big answer, the British or the English. British and English mean the same thing. It's going to come up over and over again. Second part was their religion. The Church of England is Christian, and it has been for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so when these colonists came over from England, what religion do you think they brought? Christianity. They brought it from where? From England. This picture right here, you've got a colonist who showed up, and he is setting up his Christian religion and trying to convert the Native Americans who are here in the corner. So, who did the religion come from? Dun, dun, dun. Britain or England. They mean the same thing. Third one are names of places. British people came over to the 13 colonies and started their own towns. Of course, they wanted those things to sound like things from home. So not only did they call the northern region New England, but they had towns like New York, which they named after the British town York. They had the colony of New Hampshire, which they named after Hampshire. Birmingham, the city, was named after Birmingham. Bristol was named after Bristol. Swansea was named after Swansea. So all of these places, they took the British name and just brought that over to the 13 colonies so they could really feel at home themselves. So big question, where did the names come from? Dun, 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 the British or the English. It means the same thing. Next one is architecture. Remember, architecture is the design and structure of buildings. And so check out this house right here. This is a house in the 13 colonies. This is a really old one. It's in Connecticut. And this is a house in Britain. Notice anything? Yeah. They're similar. They're like the same. Where do you think they got their architecture from? Dun, dun, dun. The British or the English means the same thing. Next one. Government. This is where your new vocabulary comes in. This is really the biggest thing. So the colonies, they elected what were called colonial assemblies. And colonial assemblies were the first legislatures. So they were the ones who made laws for the colonies. So these colonial legislatures were designed based on the British Parliament, the British legislature. So they took the ideas that the British already had in making laws at their parliament, and then they brought those over to the 13 colonies and started making their own laws there. So this picture right here, this is of the the parliament in Britain. That building is in London, and it's still there today. So in the 13 colonies, one of those first colonial assemblies was called the House of Burgesses. So you should write that down in your notes where it says example. And the House of Burgesses was established in Jamestown, Virginia, and it was the first representative government in the 13 colonies, the first representative government in the New World. So the people of Virginia, they elected their representatives to the House of Burgesses to do what? Exactly, to make laws for them. Representatives made laws. It was a legislature. So where'd they get their ideas for government? Dun, 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 the British or the English. It means the same thing. All right. So now what you guys are going to do, after you've already reviewed all that stuff about the 13 colonies, I want you to take one of those three regions that we've been studying. Take either the New England region, the Middle region, or the Southern colonies, and you are going to make an advertisement for that colonial region. Make somebody want to come there. So show why the climate of that region is a pull factor, a good thing. Show why the economy, the jobs of the region are a pull factor. Show why British people would feel more comfortable there, because remember, it's mostly British people that are coming over to live there. And then last, you get extra points for creativity. Have fun with it.